So these are my filmmakers and helpers today. So would y'all say your names, please?
I'm Dylan McCormick.
And?
And I'm Lark McCormick.
And who are you all to me?
We are your grandson and I'm your granddaughter.
All right, yay. And Dylan is going to film today. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, like we always do, is light the smoker. So I found in my basement this pellet, which is like dryer lint that I bought about 20 years ago, or not 20 years ago, 15 years ago. So we're gonna put that in the bottom. It'll make the smoker last longer, I think. I don't even know what it's for because I can't remember how long ago I bought it, but I know it has to do with the smoker. So we're gonna use it today. And now I'm gonna light a little bundle of pine straw. And as always, I always have trouble lighting smoker. So I'm having trouble lighting smoker as usual. And there's wind up here, as there often is, which makes it a little bit harder to get the smoker going like we want it to. So I'm gonna put some more fuel in now with it. A little bit more fuel in with it. More of our flame outside the smoker than inside the smoker. What you want to do when you light the smoker is not put the fire out at the very bottom, and it will gradually consume the fuel that's available to it. And we have 3 hives to check today. So now the smoker's going pretty well. And with that compressed lint in the bottom of it, maybe for the first time in these 10 video inspections, the smoker will actually last through the inspection. So that's how you light your smoker. And now I'm going to put on my jacket and veil and get ready to actually inspect the hives. So now we're going to inspect this hive as our first hive that we're going to inspect. And as we always do, we're going to start by watching the bees flying into the hive. So let's look at as closely as we can at the bees flying into the hive. Dylan, stop a minute. Okay, so we're first looking at the bees. If you'll look at this bee right here, she has pollen on her legs. We want to watch and see pollen on the legs of the bees. And one thing we can see is they're very calm. You can see they've gotten very used to the robber screen, and they're going under the robber screen, coming in from the edge of the hive. They've learned where to enter the hive. It does make it a little harder with this window screen to see if they are in fact bringing in pollen on their legs. I did see one, if you didn't. And we'll just keep watching to see if we see maybe another one. There's one right there with bright pollen on the back of her legs. So we know when we see pollen on the backs of the legs of the bees, we know that there's one beautiful one. There's probably a laying queen. So now I'm going to go puff puff at the front of the hive with my smoker to say hello, I'm coming in, and I'm going to set the smoker down. And now we're going to go and inspect this beehive from the back. So we're going to walk around to the back, and my cameraman is going to come with me. And we're going to remove the rock from the top of the hive and see what we see when we go in. So first we pop the top, and we're thrilled to see that there are a lot of bees on the top of the hive, not thousands, but enough that we know that they're healthy and good. And so we're going to go into the hive and see what's going on the inside. Now remember, the last time we were in this hive, we didn't find much brood until we got to the very bottom, and what we thought was that the hive had probably either swarmed or requeened itself, and that the new queen had just started laying and she had started in the bottom box. Now again, let's look right down in here. You can see that they're not using, again, they still haven't added much to this hive. They're using this frame, this frame, this frame, this frame, and this frame, but they have, these are empty. So this is not a hive that needs a new box, because this is their top box and they aren't really using it. So we'll put a hive drape on that box and take the box off. It does have some honey in it because it's a little heavy. Now this box, look in this one. This box has got lots of nice honey. There's honey here, honey here, honey here, honey here, honey here, honey here, and honey here. And all of it is uncapped, or a lot of it is uncapped. So we're also not going to worry about this box, but it does let us know that the bees have stored plenty of honey in this part of this box. If we harvest from this hive, this is the box we'll take off. And it is definitely heavy with honey. And we're going to go pretty far down because we want to see if the queen has started laying in any of the boxes above the very bottom box, which is the brood box. Again, in this one, this is the hive, the frame that we harvested. So it is empty, but every other frame in this box is being used. And we harvested this frame several weeks ago, and you all watched that. And these bees are good propolizers. There's a lot of propolis in this, between these boxes. And it's hard to break the propolis seal, is what that's called, that holds them together. I'll put another drape on top of this box. I should have already done it. And I'll take it off. Oh boy, that's heavy. Now this is the box where we're hoping to see some brood and see some signs that the queen is laying, other than in the bottom box. So we'll put 2 hive drapes on this box. Bring my frame rack. So I didn't bring my frame rack, so it's gonna make it a little harder to do what I ordinarily do, but we'll do the best we can. Typically, I'm gonna walk this way. Typically what we would do in this hive is what we always do, which is start with the second frame from the edge of the box. If you take out the first frame, you're very likely to kill bees as you're putting it back. So we take out the second frame from the end. And we haven't been in this hive in 2 weeks, so it should be that the queen has come up here and started laying. At least we hope that's true. And we will certainly find out in just a minute. So I have to loosen the propolis that they've used to glue the frame in place. These are nice, calm bees. They're not bothering me or my grandchildren. So this is a frame with honey on it, and there's a bee with pollen on her legs that was just on that frame. And they're storing honey in these large cells. Now, since I didn't bring a frame rack, I'm just going to lay this down right here because we're not going to stay in this box very long. We're only going to stay here long enough to see if there's any brood laying going on, and then we're going to go down to the bottom and check out to see if the queen. Now this is more nectar and honey. This is capped honey right here. There's a bee drinking capped honey right there, and the capped honey is what they're storing up for the winter. It helps us know, though, that we will be able to oh good, I see brood, that we will be able to harvest from this hive. Even though it was a new nuke this year, we may take that top box. We won't take a lot because we want to make sure the bees have enough fuel in the way of honey and stores to make it through the winter. So we won't take a whole lot, but we'll take some. Now we're going to pull this frame out, which, look at here, has 2 weeks worth of brood. This is 2-week-old brood. How exciting is that? That these bees, this queen is doing fine, because last week there was no brood in this box, none. So let's see if we can find something for you to see up really close and see if Dylan can get it. Dylan, can you get in close to that white right there? Mm-hmm. And that's little bitty larva that hasn't quite finished being capped, and they're in the process of capping it. So it means that this is about 7-day-old larva, and that's why the cappings on this are so much lighter. They're lighter because the brood is relatively young. And I'm going to see if I see any eggs to show you all, and see if, since I have a filmmaker with me today instead of being all by myself, if we can actually show you an egg, which is very hard for me to find that right angle when I'm filming and narrating. But right now I don't see any eggs in this frame, but we're going to look at the frame next to it, which also has brood in it. Now this frame next to it is one of the ones that we had to repair. with the rubber band, and amazingly they still have this rubber band on here. Most of the time the bees by now have eaten through the rubber band. They are so done with having a rubber band in their hive that they clean it out and they take it out to the front of the hive. And these girls haven't done that. They haven't been particularly interested in getting rid of it. Maybe they like the bright orange color, home decor and all of that. But most of the time that's not what bees do. So let's see if we can see any eggs in this frame. Again, this frame has light colored brood. Billy Davis would say this is light biscuit, so it's really barely been laid and capped, which is very good for us to feel. We can feel really good about our little queen, whether she's a new queen or if they swarmed and she's the queen that ultimately won the battle. Because there were 2 weeks in here where we didn't go into this hive. I still don't see eggs. I have to turn my back, get the sun behind me to really see if I see eggs, but I don't see any. She's doing well though. I mean, all of that is brood that wasn't there last week. So I am thrilled. And isn't it funny that they've left this rubber band? There's a little bit of chew. Can you see that edge right there? Where they've chewed, trying to get it out, but maybe it's too big and thick. Maybe Office Depot has beaten the bees. Okay, so now I'm gonna put this box back together. We can feel reassured about this hive because in fact, they are doing just fine, even though we were worried about them last 2 weeks ago. And since we don't have the frame rack, we have to pick that up from laying it down. And if you can show what happened right here, see right there, all the wet, those wet spots are one of the reasons I should have had my frame rack with me, because without it, what happened when I laid it on its side is the nectar that wasn't ready yet to be capped was too liquidy and it just poured out. So that's a waste of a lot of hard work on the bees' part and all my fault. So I feel bad about that. And I killed some bees in the process. Yuck. Okay, poor girls. Rest in peace. Okay, so now we're gonna put this box back together. And this is an interesting phenomenon too, Dylan. You might come over here and show this. Look right here. Now I left the hive drape open right here. So what the bees are doing is they're protecting the opening. The hive drape gives them a sense of security, but the opening makes them feel like, ooh, danger, Will Robinson. So they gather there to help protect. Mark, can you grab that pillowcase? The one that's hanging off of here so that it will, there you go, so it's stuck. Thank you. So we're going to slide this box on in the bulldozer method of putting the hive back together. Take this hive drape off, pick up this heavy box, put it back on, and it's got a hive drape hanging on it too. Mark, can you shoot that one too, sweetheart? Thank you. It didn't want to come. That propolis is really sticky stuff that the bees use to glue everything together. I'm going to slide this box back together. Then we'll get our last box. This hive is doing well. So our big challenge with this hive is to make a determination about what we're going to do about them going into fall, because this is a hive from a beekeeper who treats their bees, and I don't want to. So what I can do is kill the queen in this hive and replace her with a queen from survivor stock, which may be exactly what we did. So as a last step, we put let's check out the hive though. Come here, Dylan. See that? Show them that. That is a small hive beetle. And there's another one right here. Watch the bees attack it. They hate the small hive beetles. They go chasing after. Look at them chasing it. Get that beetle. They don't want him in the hive. But most of the time, if you have just a few small hive beetles, like this is only 2, you have them on the top cover because that's where they hide out. So, okay, that's the end of this. Is the hive that had the pesticide kill. So let's look down in here and see. There's still plenty of dead bees down there, but no new bodies. They're starting to decompose and become a part of the earth. And you don't see any bees walking around down there. So I think our pesticide problem is over. Now we're going to watch and see how they're managing. This is number 8 hardware cloth instead of window screen, so it's a little easier to see inside this one to see if the bees are flying in with pollen on their legs, even though they're using the rubber screen entrance on the side. So everybody watch and see if you see anybody flying in with pollen on their legs, because that'll be our sign that our queen is in there laying. And you know, the numbers in this hive have diminished a lot because of the pesticide kill. Everybody watch. So far I haven't seen a bee with pollen. Have you guys?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Oh,
Wait,
here's
that
one
bee
right
had
here.
pollen?
Look here. Can you get up close on her, Dylan?
Uh-huh.
Isn't she pretty?
Yeah.
She has beautiful pollen on her legs. Good spotting lark. Okay, so now we've seen her, and they're calm and nice, so we're going to go puff at the front door and leave this here. And like you've noticed, I hardly ever use the scrubber because they are calm with the hive drapes. Inevitably, something happens, like a plane or a yard guy. Okay, we're open this one up. Now, this is more bees than we saw in here the last time. The last time we opened this hive up, we maybe saw 5 bees. I think we counted them on the front of this hive. And here's a big old drone. Let's see if he's a boy bee. Now, boy bees are, somebody asked a question this week by email that I want to address as we're looking at this boy bee. Boy bees' only function in the world is to go up and mate with the queen. So the boy bee is incapable of laying eggs or having anything other than a relationship with the queen. The girl bees, however, if a hive goes queenless, you can develop what's called a laying worker. And the girl bees, who only can lay infertile eggs because they're not queens and they haven't flown up and been with the drone, those bees will lay 2 and 3 eggs in a cell, and it's a real mess when that happens if you end up with a laying worker. But the drone is incapable of doing anything except mating with the queen. This one looks a little like he's stoned. I'm not sure what his problem is, but it doesn't seem to matter that I'm touching him. You know, and drones are kind of fun to pick up because they can't sting you. They don't have a stinger. They're pretty incapable of just about anything. But anyway, that drone looks like he's out to lunch. Okay. And that may still be a result of a pesticide issue. He's not trembling like the drones do when they're sickened by pesticides, but he does seem like he's out of it. Okay, so we take off the top of this hive, and we're not expecting much because, again, this hive is in recovery mode. Now, if we look in this box, it looks exactly like it looked before. This is the frame we brought up to help them get inspired to build comb. They've built some comb on this frame right here. They built a little teardrop on this one, and they've done it crooked. So we're going to take this frame out and move it so that it can get straightened out. We don't want them to draw a crooked comb if they draw any comb up here. The nectar flow is over, so bees are not drawing much comb right now. So we don't really expect them to do much of that, but when they are doing it, we certainly don't want them to do it wrong. And this piece of comb, this little teardrop that they've drawn, is not right. So we're going to see what we can do about getting it out and straightening it out. So to straighten this out, Lark, you know the green bag that had the smoker in it that's over there?
Yes.
Would you go get that for me, honey? So let's just look at this. You can see that it's crooked. When you look at it from this direction, it's poking out on the side because it should be straight. It should be lined up with the top of the frame, and it's not. And what we want, what we need is a rubber band to teach these bees how to color inside the lines. They need to go back to kindergarten because they're having a little problem here coloring inside the lines, and I'm having a little problem finding a decent rubber band. So we may not teach them a lesson. So if we were going to teach them a lesson, what we want to do is to pull a rubber band down here and another one to straighten it up and say, do not color outside the lines, little girls. It's not okay. I'm going to bend it a little bit with my finger, and I'm going to give them one more rubber band. It's a lot of work for a little tiny piece of comb, but I wanted to show y'all how to do it. Oops, I'm sorry, did I hit you? Shoot you in the face, shoot my granddaughter in the face. I'm not going to try anymore. Those are old rubber bands. So I think I've influenced the wax enough so that now if you look at it, it doesn't stick out from the side, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're also going to change its position. We're going to move it over here closer to this side, or maybe we'll put it right by this frame of honey that's in here. That's what we'll do. So that it doesn't have the opportunity for them to turn it and send it in that direction. So I'm literally turning it around, but I'm putting it so it'll be right smack dab up against capped comb. Can you show that capped comb right there? So it's going right up against capped comb, so they can't expand it in that direction. So now their only way to draw it is either straight or crooked that way. Okay, so we're going to take this box off. There are only a few bees in it. I'm not going to bother with a hive drape because there's just one frame being used at all in this box. Now we will put a hive drape over this box and see what we see. Let's see. Again, I'm going to come around to this side so you're not going to look that way. And again, these bees are very calm. For a hive that's been through what they've been through, it's kind of amazing. Now, if you can come look inside here, you can see that these two combs are hooked together. These two frames are hooked together by a comb that's crossed. So instead of taking out frame number 2, we're going to take out frame number 3. We've run into this problem in this hive every time we've looked in it and every time I make the same decision. And it's all my fault. The way you keep the frames from getting hooked together is to check the hive every week and to account for any crooked frame drawing that's going on. And I have had several weeks in this, partly while they were recovering from the pesticide, when I didn't come in here and really look at things, and it gave them the opportunity to do something crooked, which they did. And when you don't catch them early on, you really can't fix it. So here's a really pretty frame. This is all honey and nectar. Isn't that beautiful?
That's awesome.
And that one's beautifully capped. And if they cap the other side, then this is the kind of frame that you would use for cut comb honey, because look how pretty that is. It's just absolutely beautiful comb. And the one next to it, which I'm also going to pull out, I'm going to lay that gently down since I didn't bring my frame rack. I'm having so much fun having my grandchildren with me that I didn't remember to do that. Can you come around here, Dylan, and we'll look down in here rather, because again, this one is right there hooked together, but I want them to see how pretty this capping is. And this is the kind of capping that you look for cut comb honey, because it's so smooth and beautiful, and it will win prizes in the honey show. Okay, so we're going to take this one and put it back in here. And we want to go down until we find some brood in this hive. This box is clearly all honey. So we want to go down until we find some brood so that we can see if the queen is still doing okay. Now we did see a bee coming in with pollen, but we want to know that the queen is actually laying brood and that the pesticide kill hasn't completely ruined her laying efforts. So again, we pop the propolis. It's pretty amazing in the summer that they can propolize the hive so well, because they get, oh boy, this one's heavy.
Yeah.
Lots of honey in that one. Your grandmother's getting OLD. It makes it hard to lift those big boxes. That weighs 50 pounds.
Yeah, wow.
So, it's a lot to lift. Okay, so let's see in this one if there's any brood. Let's see. Now look at these bees. They've gathered around the honey that got broken when I lifted that box up, and they're drinking it. I don't know if you can get in close to see their tongues. If you come over here, you might be able to and shoot that direction. But their tongues are down in the honey. Is that cool?
Yeah.
Can you see them?
Mm-hmm.
Great.
That is cool.
So amazing when they do that. Okay, so we're going to look on this side of the box. Now I'm going to pull out the other side. We're going to look. I don't have a good place to stand because it's where I put my boxes, but I'm going to see if I can't pull out the third frame in this box to see if there's any brood on it. The reason I'm pulling out the third frame is if there is brood in this box, it's likely to be in the center of the box, because the queen will have come up the hive that way in the center. Now there's a little bit of cross comb, just a little, and I'm just going to push my hive tool through it to make it so it doesn't get stuck as I pull it out. It may anyway. I always hate it when I break comb. One thing I don't like about that paper mache thing I put in there is it smells like a cigar. Okay, again, this is all honey. but there's brood in the frame next to it. So we'll look at the frame next to it. So we'll lay this down. It's frame number 3. And we're going to look at frame number 4, which is right in the center of the box, and the one where I can see brood. So again, we have to push down get the propolis seal broken so that we have some power to move the frame. Now there's brood down here at the end, on both ends. I'm gonna walk around over here where I have more room to look at it and Dylan can look at it.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So this is, if you can film right in there, there's little tiny larvae. Can you see in there?
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
There's little tiny larvae and maybe some eggs. I can't see the eggs. I haven't held it up to see the eggs. All right, I'm gonna look too. Let's see if I'm showing you right. All right, there's fat larvae up here. So you can go in there. Do you see what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
It's white, looks like little worms. All in here. And that larva is going to be capped in a day or two. But this is very light cappings and lets us know that the queen has only recently laid them within the time I've been gone. So she has recovered from whatever impact the pesticide kill had on her and is functioning just fine in this hive. So yay, 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 yay. And there's even more brood on the next frame, so I am not worried about this hive. And because they've been through so much, I really try to treat them kind of gingerly right now so that they can continue their recovery. I'll pick up this big old frame and put it back down in here. So that's all we're going to do in that hive. We're not going to go in the bottom box. And I'm going to remove the hive tray after I get this heavy honey box up here. And slide it on. There we go. I feel like it's right. They're not happy with me right now. You can hear a louder buzz, so I always worry, did I kill the queen? Very easy to do if you're the beekeeper. Most of the time when the queen gets hurt or gone, it's the beekeeper's fault. And again, we have a good example of because the box above this was dripping honey. So you can see them licking. Look at their little red tongues. Can you see them? They're red. They have little red, these two have little red tongues. And they've stuck their tongues down in there because they don't want to waste. That's a lot of work for them. A bee in her life makes 1/4 of a teaspoon of honey. So they don't want to let any of it go to waste. So now we're going to put the top back on this box and put the rocks back on both of these hives and call it a day on these hives, and we'll go look at the little bitty new hive. Put this rock, this rock, okay, so now we're going to go over here to, so I'm going to show you a really quick way to help ventilate your hive and not disturb them too much. We're going to take I meant to do this when I did the inspection video and I forgot the beer caps, which is what you have to do it. So I'm just going to pop the top, and what you do is you put a beer cap on the top, on the corner, each corner of the inner cover. And what that's going to do, it doesn't have to be a beer cap if you've got some other kind of cap. My sons-in-law just supply me with beer caps. So you put one on each corner, and then the bees will propolis them in place. And when I put the top back on, the hive top telescoping cover is raised up about a quarter of an inch, the height of the beer top, and it allows for more ventilation in the top. It's a good time of year to do this because we're about to be in a really hot time of year with no nectar flow. And you'll see your bees, you may already be seeing your bees bearding. All right, first we're gonna look at the front of this hive. First of all, I want y'all to notice the corks that we put in as entrance reducers last time we were here 2 weeks ago. And the bees seem fine with it. They're going in and out of smaller entrance, and it makes them safer from robbers as we're approaching the dearth season when there's nothing, no nectar. And bees, hives like this are likely to get robbed when they're little bitty because bigger hives will take advantage of the opportunity of how small and kind of weak this hive is. Now I've only once seen a bee fly in with pollen on her legs in front of this hive, and we've watched this hive a lot. One thing I think is very interesting is how fat the corks are. We have not, when we put them in, they were loose. We've had a lot of rain and they've swollen from the water that they've absorbed, and they're fattened up and filled up the space. Okay, so I'm gonna take this cigar smelling smoker and go smoke, and we're not gonna worry about the fact we didn't see pollen, because those of you that have been on these inspections with me so far know that we hardly ever see pollen in this hive. So first I'm gonna loosen the strap, and for anybody that's wondering, the reason we have a strap on this hive is that it is little and light, and I don't want it to blow over in some of the storms that we have. So we have it strapped to the cinder blocks, which is very likely to make it just fine. Look at here, Dylan, we have a cockroach.
Yes.
And often in hives like this, you'll see things like opportunistic insects in the top of the hive because it's warm up here and they like that. This cockroach doesn't like it down here, and this is old wax moth larva, so I'm gonna get rid of that, not from using it here, but from other uses of the other times when this nucleus hive has been used. So again, they still are not in the top box. There's even less activity up here than there was the last time we were here. They've done absolutely nothing in the top box. They're not interested in the top box. We have the top box on here, both because it's always good to have empty space for them to build into, and also because a beehive needs about 40 liters of space, and one medium nute box doesn't even begin to be 40 liters of space. So this hive looks like it's doing fine. It's again calm and nice as we open it, and we're gonna take out the second frame and see what it looks like. It sure has fatter honeycomb than I remember seeing in here before, and there's some sections where it's joined to the next comb, which it also hadn't been, they hadn't been doing that before. So now we're gonna break the propolis seal between the frames. And break it over here. So now this hive has been left like the other ones for 2 weeks, and we're just gonna see if there's any changes from what we remember. We've seen the queen in here on this frame before. It's marked as the one we've seen the queen on. It's got lots of nice brood in it, really nice brood, very, very pretty. And here's the other side, also really pretty. See if I see the queen. It's often easy to find the queen in a nucleus hive because there are less bees, and it's a little bit easier to see her instead of in the middle of the masses. All right, there's lots of brood here, and we'll give it, come over here and get a good picture of this. I want you to see down into those cells, so you can focus into those cells. There's tiny little C-shaped larvae in there. You see the little bitty C's?
I see it.
So move around so you can see what's in the other ones. They're all different shapes of larvae there. Some bigger and some smaller. That's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then over here on the edges, there's big fat larvae. But the sun really helps it so that you can see. Now there's an egg in this cell right here, where my thumb is.
Mm-hmm.
Now my hands always shake, but I think Dylan can find the place where my thumb is anyway. Can you?
I think so.
You see the egg? It looks like a little grain of rice.
Mm-hmm.
A
The
bee just walked over
The
it.
bees are covering it.
Yeah, now they're not. And the egg is sitting down there in a pool of royal jelly, and then it becomes, and this is another egg in this cell too, right there, where the bees are also trying to cover it. Just trying to get the sun in it, and you can get behind me with the sun and see it. Can you see it? In that cell right there?
Yeah.
See the rice?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Perfect. All right, I wanted y'all to see an egg before we were done with this inspection. So we're gonna just look at one other frame in this hive. Again, when it's this time of year and the nectar flow is over, the last thing you want to do is disturb your hive too much. First of all, they tend to be way more defensive because the nectar flow isn't going. So there's more bees in the hive. There's every single bee in out foraging, and B, there isn't nectar coming in, so they kind of feel angry about that. It's sort of like sitting around with the coronavirus where you don't have anything to do. They don't have their job to do, so they're not happy about it. So the only thing we're looking on this frame for is the queen. So I'm trying to see if I can see her. I don't see her on this side of the frame. There's a big old drone right there, and some people might see him and think, oh, that's the queen just because he's big, but he's a drone and not the queen. And there's lots of brood on this frame. This queen is doing quite well. I'm proud of her, even though she hasn't moved into the second box, which I really wanted her to do sooner than now. Now let's look and see if we see the queen on this side of the frame. And if we don't, we're going to just say sayonara and call it a day. So I'm looking, but I don't see her. She's a third longer than the rest of the bees. The rest of them, pretty much their wings are where their butt is. But the queen extends about a third beyond that, and I do not see her. So,
Is that her?
no. But she's doing a good job, so we're very proud of her, and we will just be delighted that she's continuing to lay like she's supposed to. I'm gonna look at one more frame just for the pleasure of maybe we'll see her. Wouldn't that be fun?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll try this one and then we'll give up. Lots of bees on this frame. Another big old drone right in the left center. Lots of capped brood. She is really doing a good job, this little queen. See if we see her on this side. She typically moves slowly and deliberately, and isn't like the kind of frantic moving that you see the rest of these bees doing. She tends to move majestically because she's the queen. But she seems to be not showing herself today. So we're glad to have gotten to see all of her daughters, though. They look healthy and good. Mm-hmm. And the brood looks healthy and good. And I don't see any eggs over here, but there's more brood right there on that, right in there.
Mm-hmm.
My thumb has a piece of wax on it. Okay, so this hive is healthy. So we've been out of these hives for 2 weeks, but this hive is still just doing fine. And we're going to put them back together and call it a day.
Yes.
So here we go. The first thing we're going to do is pick up the box they're not using and put it back on. Y'all will notice how high the grass is around here. The Georgia Power people are terrified of the bees, and this is Georgia Power land, like most community gardens in Atlanta, and they do not have any interest in mowing the grass up here, which is probably not bad for the bees. It probably keeps them having a little more privacy. Look at this old roach. He's still there. I'm not going to give him the pleasure. Get out. Oh, Polly, did I throw him on you?
No, I think you're fine.
All right, so there's that. And now we're going to block the top off. Thank you. What I did forget, and we don't really need it because it's been chilly and it's going to be chilly tonight, but my son-in-law gave me some beer bottle caps, which are a great way to raise the lid up a little bit when it gets hot. So I may this week come over here and just take the top cover off of each of the hive boxes and put a beer cap in each corner of the inner cover, which raises it up just enough for a little bit of ventilation. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to turn the smoker off, but first of all I want you to see oh, she just flew off. It was a beautiful bee with bright orange pollen sitting on the smoker. But when you're done with your smoker, you don't want to take it in your car still lit, because it fills the entire inside of your car and you might even catch it on fire. So if you lay your smoker on its side for a few minutes, look, almost immediately the puffs of smoke went away. And then you take a handful of something. You can use a wine cork, but obviously all the wine corks I have went into the entrance reducer. So I'm going to take a little bit of grass and make a kind of a plug with it and plug up the end of the smoker, and that will cut off just enough oxygen to make it go out. And once upon a time, I did exactly this and put it in the back of my car and drove home and went inside. And then the next morning when I came out, I thought, well, what's wrong with my car? We didn't have cold weather last night. It's all steamed up. And I opened the car, and the car had been completely filled with smoke because the plug had fallen out during the trip home, and the smoker had burned in my car all night long and completely smoked up all the windows. So be sure you put your smoker out at the end of your bee inspection. So that's our inspection. Thank you all for joining us today, and I look forward to talking to all of you on Saturday.